Okay, we're going to talk how to call the dead bottom of square today, how to bounce back after losing initially on one of your trades, Cohn resigning from the White House causing a market drop after hours, what you need to know for tomorrow, our game plan in Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mark Melnick, Senior Trading Strategist here at T3 Live, and I'm going to take you, as always, 5 days a week through the Newsbeat Show. And we're going to talk about a few things today, how to call the dead bottom of square. I think it's really important for that number two thing you see, how to bounce back after you lose money initially. And of course, we're going to talk about the massive gap down that you're going to be walking into tomorrow. And I already see members inside the room a little frustrated because we were talking about buying puts and we were hoping we would just gap up tomorrow and sell off. And we were inches away from what feels like a home run, but we were just, as the title says, just another doji day here. So we're going to talk first, calling the dead bottom of square today. Now, I have a little yellow arrow, and it's like, buy here, and it shows an arrow pointing up where square could have gone. And I suffered a little from psychological toxicity, as most traders do. You know, some traders like to break down what losing money feels like, and there's a really great video by one of the guys from the Black Room, Ifan Way, and he really shows a chart and basically, you know, shows an S-curve chart about losing money and how bad it feels, and making money and how good it feels. But I think I want to add a little to what he's talking about and try to show it from a trader's perspective when you're, you know, down a decent chunk of money. And that's what happened to me today. But first I want to just talk about square and calling the dead bottom here today. So square started flushing here, and you might be looking here and you're like, how did you call the buy there? And I'm going to show you right now. If you actually look at square here, as soon as my chart comes up, yeah. If you took our algo trendline class, you would have seen that square pulled down to our algo line right over here, 47.91. So that's where we were looking to basically buy. And what happened here is, in real time in the room, I saw the stock flushing down to 48.50s, 48.60s. I thought I missed the bounce because it immediately bounced right here, just a little, like a quick 30, 40 cents. And I'm like, oh, I probably could have scalped that. And then it started flushing again. And then when we were down by the 48.40, 48.30, 48.20, I basically said, if we get a hard flush through 48, I'm going to buy it. And keep in mind, during these positions, you guys get to see my live P&L. You see exactly what I am doing. You see exactly what I am thinking. You know what I'm thinking ahead of time. I'm thinking of buying square. I'm waiting for it to break $48. It flushes through $48. It hits 47.81 and then starts to bounce. That was the day low. And I jumped in at 47.94. Not the lightest position, definitely not medium or heavy for me, but I jumped in with 6,000 shares, and I pretty much said at that point, okay, if I'm wrong on these 6,000 shares, I'm going to get stopped out at 80 cents. I'm going to lose 14 cents on 6,000 shares. With commissions and whatnot, I'll lose 900 bucks, let's say, you know, 840 plus commissions on 12 tickets. So looking at that trade, square began to bounce up and it started to get whippy, and I ended up making just about $1,000, just a little under $1,000 on a 6,000 share trade, which could have potentially, I mean, the stock literally rallied back to 50 bucks. Maximum potential would have been a $12,000 trade, and it was a great call, and it was a phenomenal bottom call, but I was suffering from psychological toxicity that happened early in the morning. And I'm not here to just show you the phenomena of me calling a dead bottom of a stock. I want you to see a trade that went very wrong for me and how I lost money on it and how I could have prevented that. So we're going to go, the morning started, and now I'm just going to really jump into right now how to bounce back after losing initially. I think this is a very important thing, and I'm going to show you why, and oh, why ask why. So I was watching this stock plummet. Here's a 5 minute. I was watching this stock plummet and plummet and plummet, and I basically tagged in after the stock opened up at 140. I started pretty much buying all the way down near the 131, 132 level right here, and I literally rode the stock down. What was it, about 7-8 points? I literally took a 7-8 point loss in YY. I was just waiting for a 5 minute bar to break up, which never did, and I was literally sitting there looking at the analyst upgrades. It was an earnings idea, and the first thing I do in the morning, and many broadcasters and many people listening out there will not understand how I feel because nobody does this. I literally am showing my P&L to the world. I'm showing you what's underneath the hood of the car. I'm basically losing $4,000 on a 500 share trade. A 500 share trade. I'm losing $4,000. And it's definitely not a good feeling. It detracted from other potential opportunities. And I ended up hitting out for a $4,000 loss, and it could have been a lot worse. It could have been an $9,000 loss. I could have lost, just under 20 points if I had no stops and I sold it at the worst level. So I want to talk about, I'm not here to show you the graph. I think, the Black Room video on Facebook, you could check it out. Shows the chart of it, but I wanted to add on to that. I wanted to add on like what's actually going through your head, because I think psychology is 99% bullshit. And excuse my language, it's like you could talk about the psychology of a trade, but it doesn't help you. If I come to you and I tell you, you need a strong psychology, you need to know what to do, you need to stay disciplined, you need to focus, and that's how you're going to bounce back from a trade, I feel that adds zero value to what you're doing. Because no matter how many times I tell you that, that is ultimately not going to help you. And if you are a real trader, you understand that perfectly. So let me actually share with you what it's like when I'm buying a stock like YY off a support level and I'm hemorrhaging money on a 500 share position, losing $4,000. Let's talk about that today. Let's focus on that. I know all the videos out there don't like to focus on losing trades, and these traders will come and they'll show you videos of the great things they capture, and that's great. But show me what you lost on. Show me what you lost on. If you watch these videos, and a lot of these people, they make money 100% of the time. Obviously, they don't ever lose money. Of course they don't. Look at all their videos. They show you the cream of the crop. I showed you the cream of the crop. Now I want to focus this video on the mentality, what's going through my head. So I lose $4,000. I'm in the room. I know there are traders who are watching my trades. I know there are traders who are following along. I know they're losing money, and I feel awful. So the first thought in my head is dropping a bunch of F-bombs in my head. And I'm like sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what is my next step? I want you guys to rewatch this video because this is going to be gold for you guys. I'm telling you. You're going to make so much more money in the future off my mistake right now. I promise you. First thing I asked myself, what should I do now? What should I do now? Should I stop trading for the day? I just traded the first, 25, 30 minutes. Should I just call it a day? Should I just call it a day? Or should I try to fight back and make the money, which is what a lot of traders end up doing, whether it's smart or not. Whether it's intelligent or not, most traders will say, I want to fight and make back the money. So I asked myself, after what should I do now, I asked myself if I am able to approach my very next trade intelligently. And if I was approaching my very next trade, believe me, my eyes were glued on YY, plummeting 5 points lower than where I got thrown out of the trade from. And I wanted to buy it again. I'll be honest, that was my first instinct. My first instinct was, this stock owes me something. It took away $4,000. It owes me some of it back. That's my thought. I'm a professional trader for half my life. I'm 38. I've been trading for 19 years. Half my life, and this is what a professional trader is going. This is what's going through my mind. So I say, obviously, I stop and I think back to my thing. Is this the smart thing to do? The smart thing to do is completely to ignore YY because I'm reading it wrong, and I should just walk away from the stock. So to come to that conclusion, I had to go through those steps in my head. The key is, can my next trade be intelligent? If I am trading YY, again, I am way too emotional to try to make back the money in this trade. Emotional, am I crying? Am I upset? No, but like, I'm pissed, and it's amplified, two, three, 400-fold based on the number of the people in the room watching at any given moment. And, you have, at any given moment, hundreds and hundreds of people watching. Yeah, it amplifies the bad feelings. So I took a deep breath. I decided it was bad to buy YY. So what did I do? I went right ahead to another stock, VMW, which had bullish news on the day. And I went ahead and I bought some shares of this, 600 shares, very light, wrote it up. I ended up buying a little BABA, a few thousand shares, made money. I know someone in the room, Kathy, and a bunch of you other guys and gals were watching this, and I caught BABA down at a beautiful support line down here, caught a nice little ramp upwards. I made a little bit of money on that. I also made a quick 2.5 points on this one. I'm still unsure if this was a stupid trade. So this is what I did on WBAI, if you're watching. The stock was halted in the morning, it wasn't trading, and then it opened up, exploded up to 21 here, and then pulled back to 1948. I bought in 1,000 shares at like 1980s, and then the stock rallied to $23 and change. I ended up making 2.5 points on 1,000 shares, and I was just literally spending the day chopping. Then I was watching the stuff I was watching in the pre-market. I said, maybe I need to buy Netflix here. And I was kind of pissed because I actually had Netflix down at day lows at 9:50 in the morning before it rallied just under 10 points. And I was, because I was so focused on YY, I literally missed Netflix. So again, I turn back and I say, can I make a smart trade in Netflix? So while I'm watching this, I'm actually watching Netflix go up, up, up. But remember what I said, when you have a candlestick, if you remember from the Newsbeat show yesterday, watch the Newsbeat show yesterday. This stuff is ingrained in me. Netflix got a $400 target from $300 today at Pivotal Research. It was one of the names we were watching on the upgrade yesterday as well. So there was another upgrade for Netflix today. And look what happened right here. You flushed through the exponential 8 and you hit the 20, simple 20 at the same time on one candle. That's a buying opportunity. It hit it at 319.91 was the simple 20. You had a low of the day at 319.74, or rather a low of the candle at that moment at 319.74, and it immediately bounced up to 322.80. So it literally bounced $3. I took a little trade in Netflix as well. And already just trying to be smart, waiting to buy these names on the pullbacks, not getting antsy, sitting there and saying, yeah, I'll still trade, but only if I could buy something I believe in at that moment. And of course, to top it off, I ended up buying Square. And what happened with Square, you might be asking, why didn't you make? All right, I'm not gonna make 14 grand on my shares. I'm not gonna take my 6,000 shares and stubbornly hold them and just hold them and hold them and hold them till it goes to the high of the move. But I could have made 3 grand. I could have made 4 grand. But why did I only make about 1,000 in Square? Because at that point, when I had the ability to sell my Square shares, I saw my P&L up $1,000. And after starting the day down 4 grand, I knew that making $1,000 was a victory for me at that given moment, so I took it. Now, granted, that you could argue is wrong. Mark, you shouldn't let any of your prior trades affect any of your future trades. And anyone who says that is full of you-know-what. Come on, you're full of it. Cut the crap. You're not a true trader if you're telling me that. You're not a true trader if you're telling me that. You know why? Because we're humans, we're not robots. When I program these algorithms, when I help these programmers design the strategy for their algorithms, it's amazing. These black boxes don't care. They don't eat, they don't sleep, they don't piss, they don't crap, they don't speak back, they don't get emotional, they didn't have a fight with their boyfriend, they didn't have a fight with their girlfriend. They have no responsibilities. They have no kids to look after. It's amazing. They're robots. And some people say you should approach trading as if you were a robot. Really? Let me know how that works for you. Let me know how that works for you. And I will see those traders who literally turned into robots. Believe me, I know hundreds of them. And they're like, hey, how are you? Yo. They have no emotion on their face whatsoever. You could tell them a joke, they'll smile, they'll laugh, but generally speaking, they have the same monotonous look 24/7. It's absolutely incredible. It is absolutely incredible. So that was my psychological toxicity affecting my trade. The truth is, if I were to, instead of taking 6,000 shares, and I just took 1,000 shares, I could have easily wrote out a full point with no stress whatsoever, and I would have made the same amount of money on 1,000 shares as I did on 6,000. So the key, what I want you to take away from this, the key is if your first trade kicks you in the butt really hard and you're down money, and you're down money early and you're feeling stupid, you're feeling shoddy, hint one, don't trade that same stock on your next trade. Hint two, make sure that whatever you're doing is not chasing. Be intelligent about it. Agree that you're allowed to trade if you do your next move as intelligent as possible. So after I lost that money, it was all uphill for me from that point forward. And that's how I was able to conquer getting smacked early, fighting the entire day to make back the money with $1,000 profit after being down 4,000. So that was my little story. Again, a $4,000 loss isn't the biggest loss in the world for me, but it felt kind of crappy. And it felt crappy enough where my mind literally started floating a lot of things. So I hope that was beneficial for you. I hope that story was helped a lot. So just want to talk about now that Gary Cohn is resigning. And if you don't know who he was the Goldman Sachs dude who was the head economic advisor, chief advisor to Donald Trump on the economy. Obviously, who can really argue that he did a bad job? He did I mean, if you're judging him by the value of the market, he did a phenomenal job. So he's set to resign. The Qs are down 2.5 points now. Why are a lot of you guys upset here is because we were talking about how bearish the setup was. We were showing the volume decrease. We showed the bear flag rising wedge. It really just comes down to this. Like, I'll delete some lines here in the Qs. It really just comes down to these two lines. And that's how we really knew that we were really bearish. And so what we were hoping is we would get one day of a gap up tomorrow. We would gap up as we were slightly gapped up after hours, and we would be able to just short in the morning and really slam it to the downside. However, this market has been so finicky. If you've been having difficulties in this market, don't blame yourself. The market is like, in the past 2 days before today, the market was one direction. You know, I'm not talking about any boy bands here either, so none of that, please. So, like right over here, for example, look at Friday, one direction. Look at Monday. Here's a 5-minute, one direction. Uh-oh, here comes Tuesday. Day lows, day highs. In the middle, day highs, way day lows. Coming up towards day highs. Psych, we're going back down. Nope, we're going back up. Oh, we're going sideways. Plummet after hours. So this has been an extremely difficult market. I am going to, again, if you want to follow a professional trader in real time, if you want to see, you know, live calls, and a lot of people actually are grateful for that, because I just want to click and read this one email from a member of our room, and she basically says, Mark, it is such a gift to be able to watch you trade. This market is so confusing for me and so hard. I feel like I'm lost and I do not know what to do. Being able to watch your trades, winners and losers, does a great deal for me because it helps me sit on my hands when I am in an environment that I do not understand. Sincerely, I'm not saying her name. Okay, so you're welcome. So what these traders are getting, are they getting, live trades? Of course, for legal definition, it's used for educational purposes only, as always. But it really helps some people know my positions, know what I'm thinking, and it makes it very easy to follow. And I'm calling these trades out on audio in real time, as well as showing them in real time. And that does a lot for traders in this environment. So I do urge you to take a trial of the Newsbeat live room. It's in the description. It's like $7 for a 30-day trial. I mean, what do you got to lose? $7? Okay, it's 25 cents a day. 25 cents a day. With that being said, this market, I feel we're going to be able to hit huge home runs. So there was a chatter name today, if you guys want to know, which I approached with a decent trade here. And pretty much it was right over here. You see, we called ON. That's Oscar Nancy. And we were calling it right down here in the 2480 range. And the stock just exploded up to 2573. I was, again, suffering from toxicity. And I probably heard the same story from everyone in the room. Every single one of you made money because the stock went straight up after I called it. There was no real pullback if you bought it. And it just wasn't as much money as you potentially could have made. And that's very understandable. Don't kick yourself in the butt like that. We're going to get more breaking news ideas like this, breaking plays like this, whether from whatever corners of the earth they come from. We will find it, and we will find it first, as we usually do. I think there is going to be a lot of money to be made here. I was finally waiting for this down move, not because I'm a perma bear, not because I'm a perma bull. The fact is I'm neither of the two. I am really a completely ambiguous trader. I basically couldn't care what side of the table I'm on. Yeah, I've made more money to the long side in my life than the short side because of the way the market moves since I started trading in 1999. So yeah, I made more money to the long side. Look at where the market is today. But I never really had a clear bias to the long side per se. And I know when the market pulls down like it is now, we're going to be set to make a lot of money on the intraday basis. So what do you need to know for tomorrow about Gary Cohn resigning? What do you need to know? Well, we need to know that we're gapping down huge. Are we going to bounce? I highly doubt it. Why? I mean, I'm not saying you're not going to have an intraday up move and down move and up move and down move like you do every day. But why do I doubt it? Because we were watching this formation here on the Qs as extremely bearish. I'm like looking at this, and you guys somebody asked in the room, like, what do you think of the Qs tomorrow, Mark? And I looked at this and I'm like, it's bearish. I mean, every ounce of me is saying it's bearish. Look, red bars, volume declining, bearish rising wedge. This is bearish, but I've seen it before. Now, this is where the psychological toxicity came in, is on a move like this, where you had a rising wedge, but it broke out and it kept going up, and it was bearish here, just like it was here. But the only difference is you see the volume in this green bar. We didn't get any high volume green bars this time. So we were actually hoping we were going to gap up tomorrow and short into the open. That was sort of my big strategy, and I had to change what I was going to share with you tonight because I obviously saw that the market is obviously getting absolutely decimated right now. If you're looking at the spiders, I mean, you're down over $4 at the moment. I mean, everything is getting destroyed. So we're going to have some good trades tomorrow. I'm positive we're going to find some good short ideas. I'm positive we're going to find some good long ideas. You should be part of the action. If you're not, you get to watch a real professional trader in real time, call out trades, make trades, and I'm probably one of the more consistent traders out there. as a lot of my colleagues will tell you. With that being said, we have our game plan in Forex, and just very simply, I bought AMTX. If you're a part of Twitter, I bought it in, what did I pay? $1.06, $1.07 for the name. Not the best price in the world. I bought a little crapper name that shouldn't really get hurt with the market. And you could just see this AMTX right now. Just a stock that broke out today. It's a chemical company, a specialty chemical company. And you know, here's a 5 minute, very beautiful. It's trading after hours now at $1.08. I mean, that doesn't mean much to me, obviously, but shouldn't get decimated with the market. So that's what I'm watching there. You're interested in my Forex ideas? Okay, I only have one Forex idea here today. Aussie Canadian dollar. Here's my buy price. Here's my stop loss, very tight, and my take profit. You know, sort of justifying at least a 2-to-1 risk reward approximately. And you could go ahead and screenshot that or come back to the video and copy it. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to share my full stock analysis with you guys. I just also want to say that for those who are watching off our trade report, this is actually very good. If you guys were actually watching sale, if you're watching sale, you would know that this is my favorite stock for the year. All members of the Newsbeat service get my full report. Basically, here it is. Favorite stock of 2018. Only there is no number 2. There's only a number 1. Sale. Current price $14.50. Target $30. Second target $45. And I put a 5-year target of $100. This name has been so bucking the trend. I was reading an email today, and somebody was actually he actually owns a small hedge fund, and I just want to copy and paste this to you without showing his information. I'm not here to blow him up, but here. So whoops, that's not good. Okay, so right over here. Okay, so you could basically see all these analysts and how wrong they are on sale point. And basically he says, you know, you had a $21 target, a 20 target, 16, 15, 20, 18, 18, and 19. And all these analysts, those are every single analyst covering sale right now. And they all got it wrong. They all got it wrong. All the price targets were blown out. So, you know, speaking of which, I told you I did my due diligence on this one. This is the stock in which I titled a prior Newsbeat show talking about the $1 million trade. I have a little over 80,000 shares with an average price of underneath $15 at the moment. I'm really blessed with my average price here, and the stock's up 50%. And I'm, you know, pretty much up just a little over $8 right now on these shares. So, you know, I'm up, you know, massively, about $700,000. And the real question is, you know, how do you hold your convictions here? And it was one of the hardest trades that I'm holding right now, because the stock drops a few points, you know, I'm going to lose $250,000. So it's a very difficult mentality, if you will, to sit here and hold a position like this just to try to fight for that 7-figure trade. However, I'm trying to stick with my convictions on this one. It has, honestly, because of my fundamental comfortability with this idea, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with this trade, and I was watching the stock hover by 14 and 15, and it didn't faze me. Like, I didn't even blink, to be honest. And now that the stock is up here, they beat on earnings. A lot of people in the room sold out, and we're extremely happy. A lot of you guys who follow me sold out and are very happy. There are still names on my 2018 report that haven't gone through yet. Some of them have been takeout targets already. I have 5 other names that I also invested into, and you could get all that if you sign up for a trial of the room, of course. But this is my number one stock for the year, and I do think we're going to head higher. And I have no doubt in my head that this company could easily blow out the next earnings report. But now I'm going to, of course, go to my full stock analysis. That is for Newsbeat Live members only. I'm going to break down every single stock for you guys right now. Anything you're watching, share my fundamental thoughts, share where I would potentially buy it, share where I would potentially sell it, and give all of that to you. Of course, that is, again, for Newsbeat Live members only. We are the fastest trading we're the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.